Hi everyone and welcome back. Today's lesson is all about measuring and drawing angles. Here's what you're going to need for today's lesson. Let's get started. Read the word problem with me. Predict the measure of angle XYZ using your right angle template. Then find the actual measure of angle XYZ using a circular protractor and 180-degree protractor. We're going to be measuring angle X, Y, Z. We can see that this angle currently is upside down, and it actually helps me to rotate my paper so it's right side up, just to help me with measuring. Let's go ahead and do that now. Now I'm going to be using my right angle template, and we're going to predict the measurement of this angle. Now, when we place our right angle template down, we want to make sure that its vertex is aligned with the vertex of the angle that we want to measure. We also want to make sure that one side of the right angle template also lines up with one of the sides of the angle, like this. What do you notice? We can see that angle XYZ is greater than 90 degrees. So what type of angle is it? It's an obtuse angle. Now that we know that it's an obtuse angle, what's your prediction of the measure of angle XYZ? I think that the angle is around 130 degrees. Let's now use our circular protractor to measure. Before I begin using my circular protractor, I like to extend the side of the angle just a little bit further, just so it helps me with making sure that my measurement is accurate when using the protractor. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And now I'm going to use my circular protractor. On the baseline of my protractor here, we see this circle. I'm going to place the vertex of the angle there, and then also make sure that one of the sides of the angle is aligned with the base of the protractor. Then I'm going to see where this line extends to on the protractor. And we can see that it measures to 137 degrees. I'm going to write that on my paper now. We've just measured using our circular protractor. Let's now measure the angle again with our 180-degree protractor. Again, you can see that the 180-degree protractor also has a hole right here on its baseline. We want to align the hole of the protractor with the vertex of the angle. You can see that on the 180-degree protractor, it's also equal to 137 degrees. In the previous problem, how did I use the circular protractor and 180-degree protractor to measure angle XYZ? First, with the circular protractor, I lined up one of the sides of the angle with the base on the circular protractor. Then, I saw where the other side of the angle touched on the arc. Think, how did I use the 180-degree protractor to measure angle XYZ? The first thing that we did was we put the center hole of the 180-degree protractor on vertex Y, like this. Next, I lined up XY with the 0 line on the protractor. Then I read where YZ measured on the protractor. Aligning the protractor correctly is very important. We're going to practice this now. We're going to practice by measuring figure 2, which is angle CAB. And we'll start with using our circular protractor. Go ahead and pause the video here to measure figure 2, angle CAB, first using your circular protractor. Quick couple of hints. Of course, it always helps me to rotate my paper if I need to. And it also helps to extend one of the lines just to make sure that your reading of the angle is as accurate as it can possibly be. I'll be here when you get back. Welcome back. How did you do? So what is the measure of angle CAB? It measures out to 45 degrees. Let's now measure with our 180-degree protractor together. Again, you want to take the center hole of the protractor and place it into the vertex of the angle. I'm also going to align line AB with the protractor's base. And then I'll see where AC falls in the protractor, and you see it falls right between 40 degrees and 50 degrees. It is indeed a 45-degree angle. Let's now look at figure 3. Pause the video here to measure angle DEF with your circular protractor and then with your 180-degree protractor. We'll compare our findings when you return. What did you notice? Both the circular protractor and 180-degree protractor measure 120 degrees. Look at figure 4 now on your practice sheet. First, use your circular protractor to measure angle QRS. Pause here now to use your circular protractor. We'll discuss our measurements when we return. What's the measurement of angle QRS? It equals 230 degrees. Let's now use our 180-degree protractor to measure angle QRS. What do you notice? It appears that it isn't big enough to measure this angle. But let's figure out how we can use the 180-degree protractor. Now the arc close to the vertex symbolizes the angle that we want to measure. What happens if we extend the drawing of the arc? Let's go ahead and do that now. We now have a circle with point R in the middle. And there are now 2 angles represented. One angle is shown by the arc that was already there. The other angle is shown by the arc that we just drew. We can see that the 2 angles go together to represent a whole turn. Which angle is easier to measure with a 180-degree protractor? The smaller angle. Let's go ahead and measure that angle now with our 180-degree protractor. we can see that it measures to 130 degrees. Think, what is the total angle measure around point R? Well, it's a circle, so it would be 360 degrees. If there are 360 degrees in the whole, and 130 degrees is one of the parts, how can we figure out the measure of the other part? Yes, we can subtract. We know that the whole minus a part equals the other part. So in this case, 360 degrees minus 130 degrees is going to equal the angle that we were originally trying to measure. This one here. Go ahead and pause the video here to solve that now. Welcome back. What did you get? 230 degrees. Hey, that's the same as when we measured with the circular protractor. This method works. Let's explore another way to find the measure of angle QRS. Go ahead and erase the arc that we made previously. Now, go ahead and use the straight edge of your 180-degree protractor to extend QR to the right. What happened to angle QRS indicated by the arc? Now it's chopped into two smaller angles. Think, what is the angle measure of the straight line? 180 degrees. Pause here to measure this new acute angle. I'll be here when you get back. What is the measure of the new acute angle? 50 degrees. Let's go ahead and label that angle with its measure. We know that this angle measure is 180 degrees. So when we add the two angles together, we're going to get the measure of angle QRS. Let's go ahead and do that now. 180 degrees plus 50 degrees equals 230 degrees. Hey, that's what we got earlier. How fantastic! Two methods to figure out the measure of angle QRS. Let's practice drawing angles. We'll start by drawing a ray that aligns with the 0-degree line. I'm going to label my endpoint with the letter A. The next ray's endpoint should also be point A so that we can form an angle. Watch now as I align my protractor, placing the center over the endpoint, A, and make sure that my ray lines up with the 0-degree line. Ready? Now you go. Now I want to create an 80-degree angle. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to locate 80 degrees on my protractor. Once I do that, I'm going to place a small point directly above 80 degrees. $10, $20, $30, $40, $50, $60, $70, $80. Here's my small mark here. Next, I'm going to use the straight edge of my protractor to draw that second ray. I create a ray beginning at point A along my straight edge toward the mark I made above 80 degrees. Now that the angle has been made, let's verify the measure with the protractor. Look at that, it's correct. It's right at 80 degrees. Well done. We've now arrived at today's assignment. Well done. Go ahead and set a timer or watch the clock for 10 minutes to complete this work. I'll be here when you get back. For today's lesson, we learned all about measuring and drawing angles. Well done today. Be sure to check in with your teacher, and I'll see you around here soon for another Eureka Math lesson. Bye for now.